Hey, I'm Ryan Keeley, and I'm here with Paul W.S. Anderson, and I'm about to ask him about his brand new movie, Resident Evil Afterlife, Volume 4 in the series. It's very exciting. As a Manhattan resident, my biggest concern, and the biggest reason, and the biggest question I want to ask you is, how do I survive the zombie apocalypse in the middle of Manhattan with no gun?
I think the answer is very simple. Make sure you live next door to Will Smith, and he'll take care of you.
Resident Evil 2 had zombie dogs, 3 had birds, and the location for Resident Evil 4 is Alaska. Can I hope for zombie grizzly bears?
If only you'd asked me that question a year ago. Yes, you could have done, but unfortunately, no.
I'm not a game fan, I'm a fan of the movies, and so I'm really excited to see what new creatures you have, T-Right virus, resilient or enhanced creatures you have dreamed up for Resident Evil 4.
Well, we have the Executioner, who's this 10-foot tall guy with a huge bag over his head with nails hammered into his head, who has this giant axe, who chases Ali and Mila around in the pouring rain, which is good from so many points of view. And then one of the other things is, we have the classic zombie dogs, which have always been a favorite of mine. But this time they're heavily kind of mutated, so their heads kind of split open to reveal this rather unpleasant inside with teeth. I mean, it's super cool.
So you shot this whole thing in 3D. More fun or more work? And does it provide unique makeup challenges?
It's more work and it's more fun. It's certainly more difficult to shoot a movie in 3D, but we decided we were going to shoot in 3D and we were going to use the Cameron Pace rigs that James Cameron had developed for Avatar. And the reason for that was I felt if we were going to do a 3D Resident Evil movie, it had to be the best possible 3D in the world. And we felt that's what he had developed. So we used those rigs. We got some phenomenal results, but it takes longer to shoot for sure. It's more painstaking. The movie takes longer, it costs more money to make. But my feeling is, if you're asking an audience to pay a premium price at the cinema to watch 3D, you have to deliver a premium product, and that's what we tried to do.
How does that affect the fight choreography shooting in 3D?
Well, one of the really interesting things that I noticed was that, because now you're aware of depth so much, traditionally when you block a fight, if you want to just put the camera on her for a moment, the classic way to block a fight is somebody moves their fist over your face and you move your face as though you've been hit. That's how you sell a punch in regular cinema. The problem is, in 3D, you see that my fist is 6 inches away from your face. So now that doesn't work. So now what you have to do is, if you want to have someone punched in a 3D movie, you have to punch somebody. So it makes it much harder for the actors because there's a lot more physical contact. So, as bad as I felt as Mila's director and as her husband, sending her home every night from the last few movies just covered in bruises, now she had to be covered in even more bruises because the fights became a lot more high impact.
In Resident Evil 3, Zombies Learn. This is a parallel to Romero's third installment of the genre-defining Living Dead series. People want to know, homage, accident, can you give me some insight?
No, there are no accidents in the world of Resident Evil. The fact is the Resident Evil video game franchise is heavily influenced by the Romero movies. It's one of the things I liked about the video game franchise is I saw so many echoes of Romero's work and also of early John Carpenter. I mean, you can't play Resident Evil 2 and not think about Assault on Precinct 13 and movies like that. So, those Romero movies were already in the fabric of the game, and obviously our movies are based upon the game, so the fabric of Romero's movies can't help but be in our films. So obviously it's a deliberate nod to Romero and how awesome we think he is and how awesome we think those movies are.
You decided to direct the first Resident Evil and the fourth Resident Evil, but not the middle two. Can you explain that?
As a filmmaker, you can't direct everything. But when we started talking about the new movie, I really missed making Resident Evil movies as a director, and I missed working with Mila, and I wanted to have the fun of that again. I wanted the fun of kind of beautiful girls kicking zombie ass. So I wanted to make the movie. And also I felt, why do you want to go see another Resident Evil movie? And my answer to that is we're going to make the biggest and the best Resident Evil yet. You're going to see something that you've never seen before. And the 3D was part of that. But also we've made it more globe-trotting. We shot in Tokyo, we shot in Alaska, we shot in Hollywood, we shot in Canada. I mean, this is an epic Resident Evil. And I felt I was the right filmmaker with the right skill set to really do that movie justice.
That's great. I'm totally excited to see the brand new Resident Evil Afterlife, and I hope you are too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.